Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got two replays in the Swedish premium heavy tank, the Emil 1951. Now the Emil 1951 is the tank that you are getting at level 100 in the season pass, I'm pretty sure. And you might be looking at it going, it looks kind of like the tech tree Emil 1. And you'd be correct. It's very, very similar to that tank, and that's because it basically is that tank, except for the gun is different. And that is that obviously with the Tech Tree one, you got 320 alpha and 4 shots, whereas with the premium one, you got 360 alpha and 3 shots. And the other thing you might be thinking is, I swear we've got a tank, or we've earned a tank in the past that's the same as this tank, the Barracuda. Is this just the unskinned Barracuda? Well, no. And yes. It's basically the unskinned Barracuda. But what they've done is they've removed the spaced armour from the front of the upper hull, and given the tank a 2-second better reload. So instead of a base 35-second reload that the Barracuda gets, this tank reloads at a base reload of 33 seconds. In lieu of the space armor on the upper plate, which is not really that useful on the Barracuda. It helps you to bounce a fair few more shots from stuff like tier 6s and tier 7s, but once you're going against tier 9s and 10s and most tier 8s, your upper plate armor means absolutely nothing in the Barracuda. Whereas, you know, in the Emil 1951, you probably have the same effectiveness with that upper plate without the spaced armor, but you also gain the ability to fire shells 2 seconds quicker, which is nice. You know, that extra bit of DPM is absolutely worth it, if I'm totally honest. It's worth getting rid of that upper plate armor. So it is a really, really nice change for the Emil 1951. So it isn't exactly the same as the Barracuda because of the faster reload on the Emil 1951, so just bear that in mind. In terms of the tank, though, it does have nice turret armor when you're against tier 8s. It doesn't fare too well against tier 9s and 10s, though, the turret armor. And the 360 alpha is pretty damn nice, as well as this 3-shot autoloader, to be honest. But you do have small issues in the fact that the gun can be pretty damn derpy with 0.4 accuracy. Also, it takes 2.7 aim time base to aim your gun in as well. And yeah, the 217 penetration on the standard APCR can let you down against fairly armoured targets like tier 9, some of the tier 9 and 10 heavies. 242 is enough to go through a lot of the tier 9s. There'll be quite a few tier 10s, though, that you will struggle with, so you just have to bear that in mind. You do have the strength, though, that you do have 12 degrees of gun depression, which is absolutely beautiful. And it really helps you in situations like that, where you can go and get on a ridgeline and start trying to get shots down into people. That gun depression is very, very nice for that, and it's very, very flexible in that way because of the gun depression that you get on this tank. Now, this replay, by the way, is going to cut in a second because there's some sort of failure somewhere in the replay that meant it just didn't record a section of it for some reason, but recorded the whole thing. So don't mind that. But yeah, the Emil 1951 is a pretty damn nice tank. You just got to remember that this tank has no armor on this turret against tier 9s and 10s. So don't go hull down against a tier 9 or 10 and just think, yeah, this tank's going to bounce everything, because it really won't. It might bounce the odd shot off at an angle and stuff like that, like APCR as well. But yeah, don't go relying on it. So, what do I run in terms of a crew on the Emil 1951? Well, I run a pretty basic template crew for the heavy tanks. I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Trap Mechanics, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun, Off-Road Driving. I run Off-Road Driving to make my tank, well, just to help it get to that top speed that it has, because it does have a 45 km/h top speed, and I just want to help it get to that top speed as much as I humanly can do. And then on top of that, I also run all the gun perks so that I can make this derpy-ass gun as good as it humanly can be, because it is a derpy, derpy gun, and I really want to make this gun feel a lot nicer. And in terms of equipment, I run the vertical stabilizers, optics, and vents. I run vents because I genuinely wanted to make everything about this tank better that I could. So I wanted to make the aim time better, the accuracy better, the DPM better as well. And that's one of the other reasons I really like having the vents, is because it sort of knocked an extra second off the reload. And I wanted to make the fact that this has, you know, a slightly better reload than the... What a shot, by the way. The reload is better than the Barracuda. I wanted to make the most of it if I could, essentially, is why I run vents. But there's many other perks you could run it instead of that. You could run like the traction system to get up to 50 km/h and have better track traverse. There's a GLD to knock down that annoying aim time that it can be sometimes of 2.7 seconds. You can knock it down to like 2.3 nearly, something like that, with the setups you can have. There's many options that you could run on this tank if you wanted to make it better in other ways. I just like making it better with all round with the vents. Vertical stabilizers naturally, because this gun is not very nice at all if you don't run that, so I run vertical stabilizers. And optics to be able to spot for myself, because you do have only 360 meters view range, which is really not very good at tier 8, so I want to make sure that this tank is not as blind as it is, essentially. And that's the other reason I run vents as well, because it is very blind even with optics and situational awareness, etc. I just want to boost the view range up as high as it possibly can go with those as well. So as you can see in this first game, we've managed to get 4.5k damage, we've managed to get 4 kills, and we've had a nice stroll around Pearl River. Used our turret to a decent effect and managed to get 4,500 damage with the Ace Tanker and the Sniper Medal. And 1920 base XP. A pretty damn nice game for the Emil 1951. Like I say, it's a pretty solid tank when you're top tier. You can use that clip potential, you know, the 360 3 shots to pretty damn nice effect. And that's why I think I prefer this to the standard tech tree Emil 1951, because you're not sticking around quite as long as the tech tree Emil. Because I mean, the tech tree Emil 1951 obviously has 4 shots of 320, but the intra clip is 3 seconds. So it's a 3-second intra clip, which means you're waiting around for 9 seconds after firing the first shell. Whereas with the Barracuda, if my quick maths brain lets me go here, you're looking at like waiting 5.5 seconds after the first shell, and that's it, and then you've dumped the whole thing. So instead of having to wait for 4 shells to unload and sit there, hold it out, naturally you do have a good turret if you're against tier 8s and below, so you can sit there and bounce shots, but instead of having to sit around and wait for the shells to get out and get into the enemy tanks, you've basically unloaded the clip very, very quickly in this tank, as opposed to the tech tree one, which is why I prefer the 360 Alpha gun that's on this thing as well. The one thing you do have to bear in mind though with that is that I think the Emil 1 is actually technically more accurate, but it has worse aim time, you know, so like once you're actually fully aimed with the Emil 1, you're actually better in terms of hitting those shots. But we started this game pretty solidly so far on El Alamein. We have managed to get 1,067 damage so far, with a nice 3 shots that went into the T-77. And right here, we're just admiring this poor Tiger 1, who is very, very stark. He's got the Derp gun. It's one of those things you always see a Tiger 1 with a Derp gun, you're like, oh, they're really stark. Like that tank, when you're stocking you've got to take the Derp gun, it's a sad, sad time. And right here, we've caught out this poor A43 Black Prince. We got 2 shots into him, and we probably should have been able to finish him off there, but unfortunately we didn't quite get the shot into to kill him. And then we tried to get the shot into the AMX 1375, but unfortunately we did miss, and we probably should have led that better. And that is because one thing that this tank does have is 1,080 meters a second shell velocity on its standard APCR round. Now that's one thing to make note of, that 1,080 meters a second is pretty good shell velocity, right? But it's not really considered that great for an APCR round that the Emil 1951 has. And that means that you do have to make sure that you lead your target pretty well to make sure that at range you're hitting the targets. And it can throw you off a little bit at times. But also, the premium round has 1,350 meters a second shell velocity on the premium. So the premium round does travel much, much faster, which means you don't have to quite give as much lead with the premium rounds, which always sucks. I always wish it was the other way around. But hey ho, just remember that your premium rounds have better velocity. So right here we are waiting for our reload to come in, because we do know that there is a Tiger 1 and a T-34-85M directly in front of us, and I kind of want to get in because I can clip out either one of them. And once we've clipped one out, we'll be able to wait for our reload and try and feast on the other one. We know there was an Astron Rex in front of us, but I feel like he's run off, so I decided, okay, you know what? I think the Astron Rex has run off. I'm going to go in and try and get these guys on my left. But then it's like, oh, goodness me, that's an Astron Rex. I should have been paying attention to my mini-map, to be honest. It's like, nope, no, I'm not doing that. Okie dokie, Jonesy, I'm out of here. We get ourselves out of dodge. Thankfully, we missed the shot from the Astron Rex. The Tiger 1 does manage to get a shot into the back of us, though, and we're only 12 seconds out from reloading, so that we can then try our best to clip out either the T-34-85M or the Tiger 1. So we've got 5 seconds left on the reload. Tiger 1 is coming. It's like, okay, Mr. Tiger 1, if you want to get over here, that's fine by me. We put one straight through his upper plate, and that damages our Armour, which means he's not going to get a shot into us. We shut him down, and we put the final shot into the T-34-85M, which now leaves him on a one-shot for us if we get the reload in. And now we are waiting for the reload. And the ball sig ends up coming up behind us and gets a shot. So I'm now trying to maneuver my best I can to get around this guy. I'm not too worried about him penning me, though, because he's not the best of... Well, he's not got the best of chances of penning us. And as you can see, he's heavier and has slightly better engine power than me. So he could actually bully me harder than I could get him. And we had to try and maneuver our way around. Now I'm going for the ball sig. Thank God for RBRT, as it flies straight in and we kill him. That was one of the moments where I poked over. And I was like, where's the ball sig gone? Oh, he's not here. Okay. And then we just spot him and like, oh, God, he's still here. Okay, thank God we got that shot in to shut it down. Because I didn't want to take another hit from the ball sig. That would have put me down to like a one shot for anything else. And would have been very, very awkward. We're up to 3.1k damage, 332 assistance. And I'm just waiting for the reload, but I'm not pushing too early. I don't want to push too early and give the Astron Rex time to realise, oh, goodness me, there's a tank behind me. I want to run away. I want him to stay exactly where he is currently so that I can then get some shots into him as he runs. So he's there. We try and get a shot in. Not that well aimed, but it bounces off the side of his turret. We get one into his back end. We do have his back end, though, and we couldn't finish. RNG said no. We tried to finish him off with that shell, and unfortunately, it just said no, because that's what this gun does do. It is a pretty derpy gun at times, and while we had his whole ass to hit and pen, same as the back of his turret, we hit the track, because that's just the way that this gun behaves. It's just the way it is sometimes. So now we're nearly reloaded. The VK-3001P is driven out in front of us. It's like, oh, I'm so sorry, poor little Tier 6. And we ended up breaking his engine. He gets shut down by the HWK-12. Now they've only got 3 tanks left. They've got the artillery, which will be towards their base. And they've got the light tank and the medium tank that's at A1. And we need to get back into a position to shoot the cap if we can. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to aim to get to the position at D4, because I can use that ridge line to shoot over into the cap if I need to. And then I can pull back and stay safe if it really comes to that. And also from that position at that there, I can actually spot the things in the cap. If it's got pretty decent camo, so I probably won't spot it. So like the LTTB I probably won't spot, but I think the other one is a Pantera, which I probably will from that position. So we're rushing there as quickly as possible. We do know we have 50-odd seconds left on the cap, though, so we know that we are going to get back to reset. We're not going to lose by cap, hopefully. I hope, unless the gun derps. So now we're back at the position that we want to be at. We poke over the ridge. We end up spotting the Pantera. He's a 2-shot, so we put 1 in, and we're going to make sure that this shell is going to hit. 2 in, and we shut down the Pantera. Now, we know the LTTB we're not going to spot, so I'm like, go on, LTTB, shoot at me, bro. He actually takes the bait, shoots at us, and gets himself spotted because he devalues his camo. And we end up spotting him, and thank goodness for me, the roll actually rolled high enough. And we finish him off, and we finish with the victory. 5 kills, 4.7k damage, nearly 4.8k damage, 629 assistance. The ace tanker, high caliber, sniper medal, 1908 base XP. Some really nice games in the Emil 1951, which is a tank that you can get in the season pass at level 100. It's pretty damn nice when you're top tier, not so great when you are bottom tier. Like a lot of tier 8 heavies, to be fair. So, as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success!